Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all. Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books. And today I'm talking about my top 10 most anticipated releases for May 2023. I can't believe it's May. I know I say that every month and I'm gonna keep saying it. As always, these are not all the books coming out in May. They're just the 10 that I'm the most excited for, and I'm really proud of my list this month. I'm really liking it. I think it has a lot of great variety, so I'm just going to jump in. What I'm going to do is read the synopsis of all these books from Amazon, and then you can let me know which one of these sound interesting to you. These are not in any sort of order other than by publication date. So my number one pick for May is going to be Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. And yes, I did look up how to pronounce that, so hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So this is supposed to be a big anticipated book, and honestly, I think it sounds super cool. So this is what the synopsis of this book is. Loretta Thurwar and Hamara Hurricane Stacker are the stars of the Chain Gang All-Stars, the cornerstone of CAPE, or Criminal Action Penal Entertainment, a highly popular, highly controversial profit-raising program in America's increasingly dominant private prison industry. It's the return of the gladiators, and prisoners are competing for the ultimate prize, their freedom. In CAPE, prisoners travel as links in chain gangs, competing in death matches for packed arenas with righteous protesters at the gates. Thurwar and Stax, both teammates and lovers, are the fan favorites. And if all goes well, Thurwar will be free in just a few matches, a fact she carries as heavily as her leather hammer. As she prepares to leave her fellow links, she considers how she might help preserve their humanity and defiance of these so-called games. But CAPE's corporate owners will stop at nothing to protect their status quo, and the obstacles they lay in Thurwar's path have devastating consequences. Moving from the links into the field, to the protectors, to the CAPE employees and beyond, Chain Gang All-Stars is a kaleidoscopic, exonerating look at the American prison system's unholy alliance of systematic racism, unchecked capitalism, and mass incarceration, and a clear-eyed reckoning with what freedom in this country really means from a new and necessary American voice. Okay, if that doesn't sound like super cool to you, I don't know what does. I mean, it's like a dystopian novel, but it's also like not that dystopian because it's like stuff that you could picture really happening in the world today, which is kind of scary. If there's a word out there, I don't know it, but if there's a word for dystopian, but yet real at the same time, that is exactly what this book is. So this book might be scary to read, but I also think that it sounds really good. So if Chain Gang All-Stars sounds good to you, it'll be available on May 2nd. My second pick for May is going to be The Ferryman by Justin Cronin. This is a new author to me, but I've heard good things about his other books, specifically The Passage, I think was his most recent one that got a lot of good reviews. But this is a new standalone novel, and this is about The Ferryman. The synopsis is: founded by the mysterious genius known as the Designer, the archipelago of Prospera lies hidden from the horrors of a deteriorating outside world. In this island paradise, Prospera's lucky citizens enjoy long, fulfilling lives until the monitors embedded in their forearms, meant to measure their physical health and psychological well-being, fall below 10%. Then they retire themselves, embarking on a ferry ride to the island known as the Nursery, where their failing bodies are renewed, their memories are wiped clean, and they are ready to restart life afresh. Proctor Bennett of the Department of Social Contracts has had a satisfying career as a ferryman, gently shepherding people through the retirement process and, when necessary, enforcing it. But all is not well with Proctor. For one thing, he's been dreaming, which is supposed to be impossible in Prospera. For another, his monitor percentage has begun to drop alarmingly fast. And then comes the day he is summoned to retire his own father, who gives him a disturbing and cryptic message before being wrestled onto the ferry. Meanwhile, something is stirring. The support staff, ordinary men and women who provide the labor to keep Prospero running, have begun to question their place in the social order. Unrest is building, and there are rumors spreading of a resistance group known as Arrivalists, who may be fomenting a revolution. Soon, Proctor finds himself questioning everything he once believed, entangled with a much bigger cause than he realized, and on a desperate mission to uncover the truth. Ooh, I feel like this book, again, has a dystopian feel, and I feel like it's kind of a amalgamation of a bunch of books I've read before. Like, I'm getting The Giver vibes. I'm almost getting Hunger Games vibes a little bit with the whole, there's the people that are the workers and the people up top, and everyone's supposed to have a role. Like, I feel like you've heard a lot of this story done before, but I'm always open to hearing something done in a new and exciting way. So if The Ferryman sounds like it might be a new and exciting read for you, it'll be available on May 2nd. My third pick for May is The Isle of the Gods by Amie Kaufman. If her name sounds familiar to you, she wrote the Aurora cycle, which was a popular series of YA fantasy/science fiction books. This is something new from her. And the synopsis of this one says, Sally has salt water in her veins. So when her father leaves her high and dry in the port of Kirkpool, she has no intention of riding out the winter at home while he sails off to adventure. But any plans to follow him are dashed when a handsome stranger with telltale magician's marks on his arm commandeers her ship. He is Prince Leander of Alinor, and he needs to cross the Crescent Sea without detection so he can complete a ritual on the sacred Isle of the Gods. Sully has no desire to escort a spoiled prince anywhere, and no time for his entitled demands or his good looks. But what starts as a leisure cruise will lead to acts of treason and sheer terror on the high seas, bringing two countries to the brink of war, two strangers closer than they ever thought possible, and stirring two dangerous gods from centuries of slumber. Okay, magic, romance, slumbering gods. I mean, this sounds right up my alley. It is a YA series, so I am getting a little tired of YA romance, but I remain open to have my mind changed. But otherwise, everything else about this book sounds really fun. I love adventures on the sea. I love, enemies to lovers. I love sleeping gods. I love all that stuff. So if Isle of the Gods sounds like something that you might love, it'll be available on May 2nd. My fourth pick for May is The Sun and the Star, a Nico D'Angelo adventure by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro. Yes, this is a Percy Jackson book. It takes place in the Percy Jackson world, but this focuses on a specific character, Nico D'Angelo. Now, I have only read the original Percy Jackson series. I haven't read all of the other ones, but I love Nico. He is such a great character from the series. If you're not familiar with him, he is the son of Hades, and he has a very tumultuous journey in the Percy Jackson books. And yeah, I'm a fan of his character. I'm a big fan of his. So I'm really excited that he has his own book now. I assume that this is eventually going to be part of a series. But yeah, it literally says on Amazon, Percy Jackson fans rejoice. Nico and Will have a book of their own. Now, I don't know who Will is, but maybe if you've read all of the books, you might know that. So anyway, this says, as the son of Hades, Nico D'Angelo has been through so much. From the premature deaths of his mother and sister, to being outed against his will, to losing his friend Jason during the trials of Apollo. But there is a ray of sunshine in his life, literally. His boyfriend Will Sullus, the son of Apollo. Together, the two demigods can overcome any obstacle or foe. At least, that's been the case so far. Now Nico is plagued by a voice calling out to him from Tartarus, the lowest part of the underworld. He thinks he knows who it is, a reformed titan named Bob, whom Percy and Annabeth had to leave behind when they escaped Hades' realm. Nico's dreams and Rachel Dare's latest prophecy leaves little doubt in Nico's mind that Bob is in some kind of trouble. Nico has to go on this quest, whether Mr. D and Sharon like it or not. And of course, Will insists on coming with. But can a being made of light survive in the darkest part of the world? And what does the prophecy mean that Nico will have to leave something of equal value behind? Nico will have to face demons, both internal and external, as his relationship with Will is tested to the core in this standalone adventure featuring two of the most popular characters in the Percy Jackson saga. Ooh, I mean, I think this sounds so cute. So yes, this is a middle grade story. I love the fact that it features these two young boys. I don't know much about Will because I haven't read the Apollo trial books, but I do know about Nico, and I love Nico. I think he's a great character, especially being the son of Hades. You know, he definitely has a dark streak in him, and I love those type of characters. I love the characters that have a dark side but choose to do good. So if you are a big fan of the Percy Jackson world, The Sun and the Star will be available on May 2nd. My fifth pick for May is going to be Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley. And if this name sounds familiar to you, she wrote the super popular Firekeeper's Daughter, which it sounds like this book is related to. I haven't read The Firekeeper's Daughter, so I'm not 100% sure, but if you have read it, maybe you can tell me in the comments below. So the synopsis of this book says, Percy, Firekeeper Birch, has always known who she is. The laid-back twin, the troublemaker, the best fisher on Sugar Island. Her aspirations won't ever take her far from home, and she won't have it any other way. But as the rising number of missing Indigenous women starts circling closer to home, as her family becomes embroiled in a high-profile murder investigation, and as greedy grave robbers seek to profit off what belongs to her and Anishinaabe tribe, Perry begins to question everything. In order to reclaim this inheritance for her people, Perry has no choice but to take matters into her own hands. She can only count on her friends and allies, including her overachieving twin and a charming new boy in town with unwavering morals. Old rivalries, sister secrets, and botched heists will not stop her from uncovering the mystery before the ancestors and missing women are lost forever. Okay, first of all, like I said, I hadn't read Firekeeper's Daughter, but now I want to read it even more because I think this sounds really, really, really cool. I haven't really read that many books that are based off of, like, Native Americans, the indigenous people, so I think that's really cool. There is a show on ABC called Alaska Daily. I had watched a couple episodes and I thought it was really good so far, but it's basically about a reporter who goes to Alaska to investigate these missing indigenous women. So that is what this book is giving me the vibes of. I did enjoy that show, even though I haven't kept watching it. It's because I haven't had time, not because I didn't like it. So anyway, this sounds right up kind of the same alley, so I'm interested in it. If you are interested in Warrior Girl Unearthed, it'll be available on May 2nd. My sixth pick for May is I'm Not Supposed to Be in the Dark by Rhys M. Neilson. And first of all, look at that cover. It's gorgeous. I love the purples and all that stuff. Purple is my favorite color, if you didn't know, so I would get this book for the cover alone, but the synopsis also sounds exciting as well. It's about 17-year-old Aria Kitano dreams of ghosts. She used to see them too, but thanks to a special tea brewed by her grandfather, Aria's connection to the spirit world has been severed. Until a decades-old rosebush suddenly dies across the street, convincing Aria that something supernatural is happening in her neighborhood. She aches to investigate it, but the rosebush sits on her ex-best friend Derek Johnson's front lawn, and she can't question him because he hates her now. Aria doesn't know what drove them apart years ago, but she does know Derek's been acting strange for weeks, sneaking out in the dead of night to who knows where. Then, days after the rose bush dies, Derek begins speaking to her again. At least Arya thinks it's him, until she discovers there's a ghost inside of Derek that will take his life if he doesn't find what it's searching for. As Arya and Derek race to uncover the mystery, another kind of magic takes them by surprise: love. But Arya has to decide how far she's willing to go to save Derek, especially when helping the ghost means tapping into whatever the tea has buried inside of her. Bone-chilling and spellbinding, I'm Not Supposed to Be in the Dark is an alluring ghost story that's about exercising the past to find a future to believe in. Ooh, okay. I do kind of roll my eyes a little bit at the love part, but like I said, I am open to it. I'm open to it. I'm open to having my mind changed. And it does say that this book is perfect for fans of White Smoke and Twilight. And I'm a big Twilight fan. I haven't read it in ages, but when I did read it, I loved it. So I'm definitely open to a new version of Twilight. So if this sounds something like you would be open to, I'm Not Supposed to Be in the Dark will be available on May 9th. My 7th pick for May, one I'm also super excited about, is going to be Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Yes, the same R.F. Kuang who wrote The Poppy Wars and Babel. This is her newest book, which is not a fantasy, at least I don't think it is, but still sounds really fun. So this one is about authors June Hayward and Athena Liu were supposed to be twin rising stars. But Athena's a literary darling. June Hayward is literally nobody. Who wants stories about basic white girls, June thinks. So when June witnesses Athena's death in a freak accident, she acts on impulse. She steals Athena's just finished masterpiece, an experimental novel about the unsung contributions of Chinese laborers during World War I. So what if June edits Athena's novel and sends it to her agent as her own work? So what if she lets her new publisher rebrand her as Juniper Song, complete with an ambiguously ethnic author photo? Doesn't this piece of history deserve to be told, whoever the teller? That's what June claims, and the New York Times bestseller list seems to agree. But June can't get away from Athena's shadow, and emerging evidence threatens to bring June's stolen success down around her. As June races to protect her secret, she discovers exactly how far she will go to keep what she thinks she deserves. With its totally immersive first-person voice, Yellowface grapples with questions of diversity, racism, and cultural appropriation, as well as the terrifying alienation of social media. R.F. Kuang's novel is timely, razor-sharp, and eminently readable. So like I said, this doesn't seem like it has any sort of magic or supernatural element going on, but maybe it does. Maybe it does. I mean, everything else she's written has, so maybe there is one hidden in there somewhere. I don't know. Even if not, I think that this is a really interesting topic for her to tackle. You know, all of her books that she's written so far are very much about, you know, Chinese culture and what it means to have that culture changed or taken away from you. So I'm very interested to see how she tackles the story and what her opinion is on it. So if Yellowface sounds like something that would be interesting to you, it'll be available on May 16th. Getting down to the end here with my eighth pick for May, which is Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. And this is probably the one that I am the most excited for because Fractal Noise takes place in the world of To Sleep in the Stars, which I love that book. I absolutely love that book. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So the fact that this book takes place in the same universe, if you will, calling it the Fractal Verse, I think is really exciting. So hopefully it's just as good as To Sleep in a Sea of Stars was. But Fractal Noise is about July 25th, 2234. The crew of the Atomura discovers the anomaly. On a seemingly uninhabited planet, Talos 7, a circular pit 50 kilometers wide. Its curve, not of nature, but design. Now, a small team must land and journey on foot across the surface to learn who built the hole and why. But they all carry the burden of lives carved out of disparate colonies in the cruel cold of space. For some, the mission is the dream of a lifetime. For others, a risk not worth taking. And for one, it is a desperate attempt to find meaning in an uncaring universe. Each step they take toward the mysterious abyss is more punishing than the last, and the ghosts of their past follow. Ooh. Okay, so that really doesn't give you much information. But I hope that this book has the same level of character development that the previous book has. I hope it has the same level of like meaning that the last book has. If it has those two things, then this could be another hit, or at least for me personally. So if you were a big fan of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars and you're interested in Fractal Noise, it'll be available on May 16th. My ninth pick for May is going to be The Enchanted Hacienda by C.J. Cervantes. And before I even read the synopsis of this book, let me just say that this absolutely reminds me of Encanto, the Disney movie. So let me know if this reminds you of Encanto as well. When Harlow Estrada is abruptly fired from her dream job and her boyfriend proves to be a jerk, her world turns upside down. She flees New York City to the one place she can always call home, the Enchanted Hacienda Estrada. The Estrada family farm in Mexico houses an abundance of charmed flowers cultivated by Harlow's mother, sisters, aunt, and cousins. By harnessing the magic in these flowers, they can heal hearts, erase memories, interpret dreams, but not Harlow. So when her mother and aunt give her a special task involving the family's magic, she panics. How can she rise to the occasion when she is magicless? But maybe it's not magic she's missing, but belief in herself. When she finally embraces her unique gifts and opens her heart to a handsome stranger, she discovers she's far more powerful than she imagined. With unforeseen twists, romance, and a heavy sprinkle of magic, The Enchanted Hacienda is a captivating coming-of-age debut exploring identity, unconditional family love, and uncovering the magic within us all. So yes, the fact that it's an enchanted family, the fact that we have a protagonist who is allegedly magicless, the fact that we have all these magic flowers. I don't recall the specific name of the character, but there was a character in Encanto who specifically did magic with flowers. These are all the things that I'm getting vibes of from this book, and I enjoyed Encanto, so I think I would enjoy The Enchanted Hacienda. If The Enchanted Hacienda sounds like something you might enjoy, it'll be available on May 16th. And finally, that brings me to book number 10, and that is Witch King by Martha Wells. And yes, Martha Wells is most well known for her Murderbot series, her science fiction series, but this is actually a fantasy, and I believe, according to the article I'm looking at, it is her first fantasy in over a decade. So I think that is super exciting, and can't wait to see what she comes up with. So the synopsis for this one says, after being murdered, his consciousness dormant and unaware of the passing of time while confined in an elaborate water trap, Kai wakes to find a lesser mage attempting to harness Kai's magic to his own advantage. That was never going to go well. But why was Kai imprisoned in the first place? What has changed in the world since his assassination? And why does the Rising World Coalition appear to be growing in influence? Kai will need to pull his allies close and draw on all his pain magic if he is to answer even the least of these questions. And he's not going to like the answers. Again, this synopsis is very short, doesn't give a lot, but it also says, like I mentioned, that this is her first new fantasy in over a decade and draws together her signature ability to create characters we adore and identify with, alongside breathtaking action and adventure and the wit and charm we've come to expect from one of the leading writers in her generation. Okay, that is a lofty praise, I know her Murderbot books are super popular, so hopefully this one will be just as good as well. So if you are excited for Witch King, it'll be available on May 31st. At the last minute, I decided I'm going to cheat and throw in an 11th book. I don't usually like to do books in series, like, because the synopsis usually has spoilers for previous books in the series, but I will just mention really quick that Cherish, which is the, I think 5th or 6th, is the final book in Tracy Wolf's Crave series. I just finished book 3, Covet, and I'm really liking this series, really enjoying it. So I'm definitely excited that Cherish is coming out at the end of the month, and I'm probably going to pick that one up at some point. So I'm not going to read a synopsis for it, but I am going to say that it's definitely on my list of books I want to pick out. And if you're excited for Cherish, that one also comes out on May 31st. If you made it to the end of this video, you were rewarded with a Jack. Hey Jack, can you show everyone how you don't wear any pants anymore? Jack is old now, so he decided he's old enough that he doesn't have to wear pants anymore. Huh, Jack. Those are all my picks for May, so now I want to know from you, what are you planning on reading in May? Is it anything I mentioned? Is it something different? Let me know in the comments section below, and as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading!